In Pakistan, which is a very, very patriarchal, conservative context, the kind of access that women have to technologies is limited. Often mobile phones are shared. Even when you don't have low-income households, even when you have resources or finances are not a concern, you will still have women with monitored phones. So they're using public transport. And they're getting harassed on the way there and they're getting harassed on the way back. And so when women go into factories, we wanted to understand the kind of violence they experience there, the shape and form it takes, right? So it's not just physical violence and it's not just sexual violence or microaggressions or harassment. We wanted to understand sort of the full spectrum of the kind of aggressions that they face, who can't go on Google. They're not reading the newspaper. Their social circles are limited. They're not leaving the house. And yet they are finding jobs in factories. There are existing mechanisms for navigating that, but then also how can we design and what can we design that will help them form collectives? So if there are certain factory spaces, if there are certain, because women don't have these social circles, there's no Reddit, right? There's no Yelp that tells them that this particular factory is very male dominated and it has a culture that is very, very abusive towards younger women entering the workforce. And so these are the kind of insights that we were looking to generate to sort of better understand what design might look like. And as we start to become more and more digitized, and because technology has such great potential for connecting women in contexts where their mobility in public spaces is very limited. My work as a technologist in Pakistan has looked at sort of the affordances or the lack of affordances and the gaps in how technologies are designed for populations that are part of the global south, so particularly vulnerable and marginalized communities. And it's my colleague and collaborator, Hadia Majid, she's an economist. And so she looks at women's labor participation. And so she has a better understanding of the economics and the labor markets and how women access labor markets and a better understanding of their unpaid care work and how that sort of correlates with their actual paid labor. So we typically approach community organizations and we work with them and we leverage the trust that they have with these communities to interview women. We worked with Ahuvat, which is a microfinance organization. It's one of the largest MFI organizations in South Asia. Directly asking them didn't really get us anywhere, but just asking them to talk to us about their daily routines, talking to us about some of their challenges in just, even before talking about what happens in a factory or in a workplace, talking about, well, tell us the process of getting out of the house. Because, some of the stories that we were getting weren't, especially in terms of the environment within the workspace, they weren't detailed enough. So we didn't use text for each of these cards. We used images. Were the gold cards. That's what you want to get to. The yellow cards were your activity cards. And the red colored cards were your barrier cards. And we kind of asked them what they were feeling or what they thought about when they saw that image. So a video in there it was a very short video in a local context that showed sort of a younger woman working on a factory floor and then her older boss coming to tell her how to sort of stitch the cloth, but getting very inappropriately close and inappropriately touching her. And she's trying to move away and he's not sort of giving her the space to move away. And we asked the women what they thought about this. And at that point, we started to get, well, yeah, I've seen that. Yes, that's happened. And so we tried to visualize and sort of use images to help women understand what each card meant. And we went back into the field and we said, okay, I want you to pick a goal as an aspiration, one goal that speaks the most to you. And here are the barrier cards and here are the activity cards. And I want you to sort of pick your current starting position from where you are. And this is your aspiration, your goal card. And can you use a mixture of these cards to get from here to your goal? And can you tell us about what that journey is like? What kind of barriers, conflicts do you think, kind of activities might help you get around those barriers? barriers. And that was actually, I think, really revealing in terms of the kinds of, like, women got really involved in that, and they wanted to sort of, they caught on really quickly because it was very visual and it was very tangible. And so they started making these pathways with specific activities and specific aspirations. What kind of things would I be doing and how would I be overcoming my barriers?